Frohan, and this is my beautiful wife, Lindi. And we've been part of RX since the beginning with South Africa. We had a phenomenal weekend for those of you who know about the GoPro. It was absolutely fantastic. And things like that, these training events, I always wonder, how do you measure the value that a person gets? How do you measure it, the impact that it makes in your life and your business and everybody that you get the opportunity to present this to. And, on the backdrop of that, or with that in mind, I would like to introduce everyone to Coach Todd Rowland. And he's a phenomenal guy. And for those who know about our new Facebook pages that we have, the health style, transformation health style and transformation lifestyle, Coach Todd Rowland is one of the videos that have been pinned that, it's him talking, and he explains what a beautiful business this is that you can get involved with. And it's just incredible. And this is the second Zoom that we do with him, or at least that Lindi and I are hosting. And the previous one was a prospecting Zoom. And I kid you not, after that Zoom, my phone was ringing off the hook for an hour or two, in the way that he just connected with everybody and how everyone was just excited afterwards. And I'm so pumped, I'm so amped to have Coach Todd Rowland on a training call today, or training Zoom, because he's one of those guys that just keeps on giving. And he's a husband and he's got 4 kids. And I think the incredible thing is that he also does this with his daughter. She's also involved in RX, and I've seen on Facebook, the journey that she's had, and it's absolutely beautiful. And Coach Todd Rowland works with all of the big names that we know as well. We're always on the Zooms with Anthony and Tammy and Brent and Dr. Crystal Vance, and his heart is the same. And Coach Todd Rowland, the floor is yours. It's an absolute honor and a privilege to have you here, and I can't wait to hear what you have to share with us.
Thank you, Frohan and Lindi. You guys are awesome. I tell you, I'd sit back in amazement at how well you guys are doing over in South Africa, because I know that you have headwinds against you. I've said this for years, that a lot of times the pioneers get shot, many get killed, injured, but the ones that make it get streets named after them. And you're just in the street naming time frame. And but that doesn't make it any easier. You, Erica, Tammy, I commend you guys. Y'all are just phenomenal. And every time I hear you speak, I know why. And that goes for the whole group. I don't know everybody yet. I've sat in the background of some of your Zooms, and every time I'm on one, it's just phenomenal. I know that you guys had Kim last week. She is a superstar here in the Southern United States, and just doing an excellent job. But what Tammy and Erica both had asked me to train on today was what I had trained on at the big event we had. So some of you may have seen this before, but what we're going to talk about is how we created $1 million home-based business. And Frohan, for me, it's really difficult just to go one-sided the whole way through a 30-minute Zoom. So at any point, if you guys or anybody on your team has questions, if I'm not good at keeping up with the chat, but if somebody throws things in there that they want to know, you guys are welcome to interrupt me and ask questions or whatever it may be. But I think the first thing to understand when you are going to create $1 million home-based business is kind of what company you're dealing with. And to give you just a bit of a background, I've been in the industry for 20 years, only ever 2 companies. I was previously here in the United States, a high school football coach, the one with pads, not the one we kick. I know that football is equally as the number one sport there. It's just a different kind of sport there in South Africa. I know you guys have what we call soccer and rugby there. But anyway, I was coaching football, and my wife and I had our 3rd child, and our 3rd child came 11 months behind our 2nd child. And here in our country, generally speaking, both spouses work to make a living. And we had made a decision that my wife was not going to work. We were going to raise our own children. We homeschooled our kids most of the way through. And keeping a wife home with 3 kids, eventually our 4th one came, was almost impossible, just impossible to keep up financially. So we were praying for something to enter our lives. I did not know it would be a home-based business. I did not know it would come in the form of multi-level marketing, network marketing, whatever a person wants to call this. I wasn't skeptical. I just wasn't knowledgeable. But about 6 months into really desperation, looking for something to improve our finances, this industry showed up, and we entered it on borrowed money from my dad, and started it very part-time. But over the course of about a year, it was tripling what I was making part-time. It was tripling part-time what I was making in my full-time coach's income. And we decided to give it a whirl full-time, thinking that, we'd go back and coach again someday. But that's now been approaching 20 years, and we've never had to go back to work. And I always tell, it's kind of a joke, but again, it's not a joke, that our kids were all babies when we joined the industry. So none of our kids, who are all either in college or out now, they've never seen their mom or dad go to work in their memory. They've just seen their dad and mom go do meetings. And as I'm home, my kids are in the other room now. Some of them are home for college right now. So they're in the other room knowing dad's back here in the bedroom doing a Zoom, but it's not like a real job. And the rest of the day will be about hanging out with them. So let's talk about how we did that. Let's start, Anthony. I'm going to kind of get Anthony's flipping the slides for me. So Anthony, let's go ahead and go a slide forward. And I think the first thing to understand is you've got to have the right company, because in this industry, there's a lot of companies, and all of them are not created the same. Even companies that are starting with good intentions maybe don't have the legal withstanding, maybe don't have the financial backing, maybe don't have there's some luck involved in startups. Maybe they don't have the science, the knowledge. There's so many things that can make a company go astray as it gets try to get off the ground, especially one that's going to have an international presence. And I think if you look at New Age RX, New Age Noni, New Age, whatever you want to call us now, but we are a company that has a solid foundation and an international footprint that is growing. And what we do as a company is two things. We manufacture and create the cleanest, best products along many lines that exist in the world. You see some of them there, from the Noni to the Hero to the Tamana to the Purity, the Revive. I know that you guys in South Africa do not have all of these yet. Don't worry. We here in North America or the United States, we do not have them all yet either. But under the umbrella of New Age worldwide, there's actually, I think we've added another 4 or 5 since this slide was made. So what we do as a company, going back to this, is twofold. We manufacture some of the cleanest, best products on planet Earth. And then the second thing we do as a company is we distribute them around the world through a home-based business model, through social selling, through word of mouth, what we call, and I'm assuming terminology will be the same. Let's back up one slide, Anthony. So some of the more popular ones are the nutrition. And I will tell you, on the nutrition side, we're second to nobody. If a person is health conscious, the cleanliness, the sourcing of our ingredients, no negative ingredients involved, there's just nothing that compares. And it's one of the reasons that we hung our hat on this company 7 years ago, is because I know that marketing soon fades away, and you better have a solid foundation under the hood once the marketing fades away. And the cleanliness of our product line, the efficaciousness of it, the effectiveness of it in the body is just remarkable. Our weight loss division is crazy good. Our energy drink division, thanks to the New Age Lemu merger, is just fabulous. Clean air and water, essential oils, and again, I know that they're not all available in South Africa yet. They weren't all available here either, but you just kind of got to know that things will be coming that direction over the next couple of years. And you just want to be as fully prepared on the second piece of this puzzle as you can be, and that is having your distribution network built out. So as a new product line hits, you don't have to call up your next door neighbor and say, hey, would you like to buy some of our new essential oils? Because you still can do that, but you might have 3 years from now, by the time that all occurs in South Africa, and I don't know timelines at all, so don't let me scare you. It may happen in 3 days. I don't know. But when that happens, You got 1,000 people in your organization, and 1,000 people go sell one new product, and that's 1,000 new sales in a day because of a distribution network you've built out. And the great thing about it is that you can build that distribution network right from home. I mean, because if there's anything that's good that's come of the virus, is it showed us all just how flexible we can really be from home. I mean, these Zooms and being able to build an international distribution network strictly without leaving the house is really almost mind-boggling in today's world, how easy it has become. Okay, so let's go forward one slide, Anthony. Okay, so these obviously are more North American or United States, but you guys will kind of get the ideal. Here in this country, we've had like 22 of our biggest name brand storefronts closed to bankruptcies this year. And the reason for that is because it's really twofold. It was already starting to happen before the virus because of what we call direct to the consumer. The Amazons of the world, people that are developing products and shipping them directly to our house instead of us going to the store and buying them. So all of these companies, and then here in this particular country, our biggest nutrition store that we would go and buy our nutrition at is a store called GNC, General Nutrition Center. And that store, it had like 1,800 locations. They've all closed and have filed bankruptcy here in our country. So we're sitting on the front end of the way really all business is going to be done globally over the next decade. And if you go forward one slide, you'll see a picture of our CEO here. And I kind of joke with him, but I've been saying this for years, and that is that every company out there would like to be partnered with a network marketing company like us, because it makes so much sense to get their product on a screen where we do all their advertising, we move all of their products. They don't have to hire us. I mean, anybody out there that's been a business owner in any country knows that sometimes you hire a great employee and sometimes you hire a bad employee. The issue is when you hire a bad employee, it's sometimes not easy to replace them. I mean, I don't even know anybody to replace them with, but sometimes it's hard to fire them and then restart with another person, teach them the skill set all over again. See, that's the great thing about network marketing is none of us are employees, which means it's good for the company for this reason, is that if we don't perform, if we don't build a network, they don't have to pay us anything. We don't weight the company down. But on the flip side, why it's good for us is that if we go out and build a huge network, if we give up a weekend and listen in on a GoPro event and improve our skill sets and get better at what we do, and we build this massive network, we are not limited on our income potential. We can create an income that is just as big as we can imagine. So that can be, I lose people at different dollar amounts. And, here in the American dollar, let me ask you this, what is the South African dollar called? Is it the rural?
Sorry,
Rand.
One more time.
Rand.
The rand. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so the South African rand. So I'm just going to use in that dollar amount. So you can work from home part-time and start creating a $200 weekly rand, $200 rand weekly amount. But you can also here build in a $1,000 or 1,000 rand weekly amount. And you can, if you want to work really hard at this, you can build a 10,000 rand weekly amount or even 100,000 weekly rand amount. There is zero limit. And that's sometimes very difficult for someone to wrap their mind around, depending on what their life has dealt them up until this point. But just know there is absolutely no limit. You're not even dealing just in South Africa. I know it's very exciting to be on the front end of a new company opening there, but just as quickly as Tammy and Erica found somebody that got South Africa opened up, then just as easily somebody in South Africa could sign up a friend that lives in Australia, who signs up a sister in China, who signs up a brother that lives in Japan, and all of a sudden now you have businesses in 4 other countries besides South Africa. So we're international. I think it's 80 countries at this point you can do business in, and it can all be done right from home. So Anthony, let's go forward one slide. Thank you, sir. So anytime we start talking in big concepts, it can become a bit overwhelming. So what I like to do is back it up now to, I just got started in this international company that's doing business in 80 countries, that's selling the highest quality products across many divisions, many different lines. In this company that's going to allow me to create another income stream for my family, a way to get ahead in life. So how do I do it? And the answer begins very simplistic. Do I know 4 other people in the entire world, or my subdivision, or where I live at? Do I know 4 people that would like to make extra money, that might like to get healthier, use some high quality products, or might like to lose weight, or all the above? It doesn't matter who you pursue, and it doesn't matter how you start your conversation. There are some people, the conversation begins with the health side of things. We talk about some high quality products that make them feel better. And then there are other people I approach them strictly from a financial standpoint. I approach them about a business model that they can work from home and create a distribution network around the world. Okay, Anthony. And then what happens is, this is the most unique thing about our industry. It's what really sets us apart, is that when you find your 4 people, now don't limit yourself. You can find as many people as you want to. 4 is just a number to keep it simple and get it started. If you want over time to find 40 or 400, that's okay. But what we want to do is we want to help everyone who joins us become successful. That's, in my opinion, that's equally as important as the people that you initially recruit yourself, because what makes the industry so unique is you can get these compounding efforts that start taking place when you get other people making money. So this illustration just simply shows that if you found your 4 other distributors that wanted to create their distribution network, and then over time you help them by doing Zooms for them, doing trainings, helping present in person, but they eventually found their 4 people, who eventually found their 4 people. You see this massive global distribution network that grows out. And in our pay plan, you now begin to get paid every single week, anytime a transaction occurs, whether that's somebody buying a product, whether that's a new enrollee buying a pack, whether that's a retail customer buying a product out of a store that somebody's bought from the system. So it's just the most unbelievable thing once you get this network growing. Okay, Anthony. So why do people want to do this? And my question, after doing this industry for 19 years, is why would people not want to do this? It's a residual income, which means you can take days off when you want to. There are no bosses. The startup fee is nominal compared to traditional business of any kind. Even if you're going to start just a little mom and pop restaurant, by the time you find your building, you lease it, you get your equipment, you get your inventory, you hire your employees, you pay your taxes. So the cost of going into a home-based business is generally 1 to 2% of what it would cost to go into any type of traditional business out there. And then the flip side of it, this is my favorite part, is that the upside potential is far greater. If I go start a small business in my town that I live in, I'm very limited on the amount of income I can make, because most people are not going to drive more than an hour to my storefront. So I basically have a radius of an hour. In my home-based business, I can literally do Zooms around the world and have several billion people that are potential customers of mine here in this type of business. So in my opinion, there's absolutely no comparison between a home-based business and a traditional business, as long as a person is educated and understands the difference between the two. Okay, Anthony. The second piece is the residual income. And this is the part of the business that it takes a minute. I always explain this industry. It's the hardest work you'll ever do for the easiest money that you'll ever make, meaning it takes some time. Sometimes in this type of business, you will put more into it than you get out of it the first 6 months, year, potentially even 2 years. You have to really pour energy. You have to sacrifice time. You might even have, when I say an investment, you might have to drive to other locations and do the business. I've helped people get started in unique situations. Matter of fact, Kim is one of our biggest superstars here in North America right now, and her upline bought her products for her for the first 6 weeks just for her to get her testimonial. So there are times that you do have to pour in a little bit in the beginning, but later on it will come to life. And when it comes to life, now then you have this residual income flow that gives you the freedom to do what you want to every day. I always say true life is doing what you want to every day instead of what you have to every day. You just wake up and enjoy your family and pour your energy into the things that you believe in, and the things that you love, and the things that you're passionate about. Okay, Anthony. All right, let's skip over these real quick. All these slides were more for in person there, but what this is, and I'm going to get to the next slide and I'll go back and tell you this. One more, Anthony. Okay, so on this slide here, when you first get, let's back up one, Anthony. When you first get started, you want to establish your why. And to establish your why, you have to identify what it is in your life that you want to improve. And for some people, it could be getting out of debt. For some people, it could be creating more time freedom, getting out of a cycle where you work at that eats your entire life up. It could be chasing your dreams. Those slides kind of went quickly, but one of the marketing, it was a little 800 square foot, 2-bedroom house on the campus where I coached football at. We rented it from the school system. And this house that you're seeing there was about 8 years later from our 7 years full-time in the network marketing industry. But in our previous company, they gave away cars. So there's the house we were living in when we started. And then that is the house that we ended up moving into 8 years later. So yeah, that's the slide I was wanting to stick on there. If you don't mind, Anthony, let's just run past all of this just to save a little bit of time. I'm sorry. There we go. So now then, this is the slide I want to hear. Let's stick right there with the RAS. So how do you go from where you are today to where you want to be? So we found the vehicle. One of the most important things in life is to find the right vehicle that can actually get you to where you want to be. In life, sometimes it's not how hard you work, it's how hard you work on the right vehicle. Many people work 60 hours a week, but at the end of the week, they have no income because they're not getting paid enough for their time. So you have to have a vehicle that can create a large amount of income for you. But when you start on this new vehicle, which your vehicle is New Age RX, you have to change your mindset. And inside of our mind, right here, right below our brain, sits a thing called the reticular activating system. You can Google this if you want to. It's called the RAS, reticular activating system. And this reticular activating system is what we call our personal secretary. And it weeds out, it really keeps us from going crazy. It weeds out all of the things that aren't relevant in our mind. That's the good piece of it. The bad piece of it is it also creates our habits. So many times when we're 35, 40, 45 years old, we've created unconsciously a set of habits that are keeping us from arriving at our great potential. We kind of, for lack of better words, falling into a rut. We do the same things every day. and we expect something different, but we're not doing anything different. So we keep on getting the same results. So what we have to do is we have to reprogram our reticular activating systems. And I'll give you some examples here. If you've never been in network marketing before, you probably have never heard terms like residual income, compounding efforts. Yeah, see, somebody said fun times at your house. I got dogs barking, kids running. I'm sorry for all the background noise. I think my daughter finally has it under control. But yeah, we're all just, no matter how successful you become, we're all still just the same out here all day, every day. It's just chaos. But we have to get this reticular activating system learning all of these new terminology. So I want to start thinking daily about residual income. I want to start thinking daily about building a network. I want to start thinking daily about investing in somebody else's life. So in our industry, it's all about helping the next person become successful. And that never ends. So once you get a person becoming successful, let's say you meet somebody that you personally sponsor, and over the course of about a year, you help them start making 1,000 Rand a week. And that becomes fairly good income for them. By the time you do that, you've now met 2 or 3 more people in their business that are starting at the basics themselves. They don't know anything. They don't know residual income. They don't know network marketing. And now then you build the relationship with the next 2, 3, 4 people that want to change their life. You help them reprogram their reticular activating system. You help them start thinking about all the positive things that can be achieved in life. And now all of a sudden you get the next 3 people to 1,000 Rand a week. But by the time you do now, you've met 3 or 4 people in each one of their businesses, and you've got a dozen more people. So really, to create wealth, it starts with you. But as soon as your mind begins to change, now then you just start investing in everybody else's mind. So one more slide, and we're going to open it up for any questions. Thank you, Anthony. So I'm a big believer in the law of attraction. I believe it from a personal standpoint, from a Christian standpoint. I just believe that we have the power to create things, that our mind allows us to go do really, really big things. And one more slide, Anthony. One of the books that was put in my hands when I first went full time was a book called The Prayer of Jabez. I recommend it at its highest level. To give you just a summary of what the prayer of Jabez is, in the Bible, there was a guy named Jabez. There's only like 3 verses written about him, but it says his mom bore him in pain, but Jabez cried out to the Lord and said, "Oh Lord, please bless me indeed, enlarge my territory and protect me from evil so I may not cause harm." And then the next verse says, "And God granted Jabez what he asked for." Okay, let's go full screen, Anthony. I'm going to end with that. And I want to talk to you about it just for a second. When you start your journey here, you have to see it. Like, you can't, it's really difficult to go create the life of your dreams. You're living in pity every day. You have to like have this vision of greatness. And I remember I was coaching football in a small town in the state of Arkansas. And I went full time in the industry. I paid some debt off, but my wife and I were scared to death. We, had a Friday paycheck coming. We knew we weren't going to starve to death. When I left coaching, my mom, she looked at me and she said, "Todd, you do realize that you have children?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am, I do." And she said, "You do realize you're married now. You can't just be going out on a limb and doing dumb things anymore." And I said, "Yes, Mom, I understand that." And she said, "I just don't think you're making a very good decision. I think it's very poorly thought through." And I said, "Yes, I understand that." And it made it even more difficult because I was already scared to death. And I think sometimes we get closest to God when we're the most scared. And I was really praying, and I went to my organization grew into a small town in Oklahoma. It was just outside of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And I did a meeting there one night, and a pastor at the end of the meeting, I shared my story that I had just gone full time. And he said, Todd, have you ever read the book called The Prayer of Jabez? And I said, no, sir, I haven't even heard of it. And he says, I have a copy right here. I would like to give it to you. He said, if you will go home and read it and then pray the prayer, I think great things are going to be in your future. So I took that book from that pastor that night. This was in 2002. I went home. I read the book. I prayed the prayer. I began to pray the prayer every day. I still do. I have for 19 years. But about 8 months from the day that book was given to me, my wife and I decided to move back to our home, which was at that time Tennessee. We live in Florida now, but some farmers there that we knew had a house out on 1,000 acres from them. And we rented this house from these farmers that we knew, but I'll never forget this. When I went to my back the day we moved in, it looked out on like 1,000 acres. And the prayer said, oh, Lord, please bless me indeed and enlarge my territory. And when I opened up the door to this 1,000 acres, I mean, I just started crying because when I went full-time in network marketing, I was living in a 2-bedroom house that was on the school system campus. My backyard was the practice field. And all of a sudden, I didn't own it yet, but I did it in my mind. When that door opened and I saw that land, I knew that God was blessing us. I knew that he was opening the door. I just had to go finish the work. So I say that to all of you, whether you're listening in South Africa or here in North America, pray the prayer, ask God to bless you and to enlarge your territory. And then you go get it. You go chase it. You've got to believe it's coming to you and go change the world. Go change your surroundings. Go change your family. And we have a company with New Age that's going to be around here decades to come to pay the residual income that you're about to go out and pay the price to build. Erica, Tammy, Frohan, Linda, thank y'all so much for inviting me. Lydia, I don't want to mispronounce your name. I'm so sorry. But thank you guys for inviting us. And if you do have any questions, I'm happy to answer from anyone.
Thank you so much, Todd.
Wow.
It's very nice always to listen to you. And, I can hear from the way that you speak that you've got one of those givers gains hearts. It's just about giving. And at the end, the reward is the residual income, which is absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time. If I can start the floor off with one question. We have a very new team in South Africa. Everyone here, no one has been in this business here for more than 6 months. What would you give as a piece of advice for someone that's new in network marketing, new in New Age RX? What would you tell them?
Yes, it's double complicated because you're new, your country is new, products getting to your country are still trying to get all that figured out, legality, I mean, everything is new. And which goes right back to where we very first started. The best advice I can give you is to tell you on the front end, it won't be easy. It'll be worth it. And, 2 years from now, when you look backwards, it won't seem so complicated and hard because you will have the reward. But going through it on a daily basis, it can sometimes seem like an eternity. And it's not just South Africa. It's here. Every brand new person, every new small town, every new area, just right when you think your business takes off, it will drop off. And right when you think you have a superstar signed up, they'll quit. And I mean, it's just part of the animal. And as long as you know that and you understand it's part of the process, it's generally okay. So what I always like to do is be very upfront with people. There's nothing easy about beginning, but I will promise you, I've lived it now on both sides. It's worth it 1,000,000-fold because as a high school football coach, those days are hard too. And outside of the investment into a kid's life, which is tremendous, from a financial standpoint or getting ahead in life, there's no return. You retire here in the United States, you would retire on 70% of broke in that profession. And here this is a chance, to go do something very special for your family. So I just encourage you, get through the starting part and don't get upset on a bad day and don't get distracted when 3 or 4 things go wrong or there's a setback. That's part of business, especially big businesses, to be expected.
Thank you very much, Todd. And that's so true. And it was a recurring theme this weekend as well. Stick to the plan. You know, you get your plan and you stick to it. And during your presentation, you also summed it up wonderfully. If you don't mind, I'm using that forever from now. It's the hardest work for the easiest money. Beautifully said. Are there any other questions while we have him on a Zoom? He comes with an absolute wealth of knowledge, and it would be fantastic if we can have someone that wants to jump in and ask a question. Or someone that just wants to
Frohan, I will tell you that we're amazed at how much success you guys are having. We just sit back in amazement. We're so proud of you guys. I mean, it's really awesome. I congratulate you.
Thank you.
A testament to y'all, to your spirit.
Thank you very much. You know, we look at your guys' success, you know, and we're very impressed. Very, very much. Any questions? Anyone?
Everyone's mind blown.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know, Erika or Tammy or Nick, is there anything that you want to add before we sign off?
Can I say something? So, and here's something for all the South Africans on this chat today. My favorite Zoom outside of South Africa is Todd's Zoom on a Saturday. It's the morning one. If you guys can get onto that Zoom with Todd and Chris, it's amazing. There's about 100 people on that Zoom every Saturday, but there's wealth of knowledge to be learned there. Very, very quickly was attending that Zoom was a big help for me. That's my 5 cents.
Awesome.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, then that's a wrap up. Todd, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule. I took some screen grabs of your presentation because it's just brilliant. And we'll be sharing all of this with our teams and the recording. Everyone, you've been wonderful. Thank you for your perseverance. It's absolutely wonderful to work with everyone here. And you guys must have a fantastic day. And everyone in South Africa, you must have a wonderful evening and get some rest after this week.
Thank you, Todd. Really appreciate
you,
it so
guys.
much. Thank you,
Yes.
everybody.
Thank you very much.